This video introduces Collaborate, one of the options available to you for delivering real-time online content. It's an alternative to the more popular Zoom. And the learning curve for Collaborate is a little steep, but it may be worth that initial effort in the long run, especially since Collaborate is integrated into Waseda Moodle. This means that it's a lot easier for you to integrate and manage content within your existing courses. So when we think about how to do this, let's look at an existing course. So we'll enter Moodle and enter Trial Course. As the teacher, we have the option to edit. So we turn editing on. And I want to add my Collaborate session to section 1. Section 1 could be week 1, lesson 1, whatever we want to call it. To add the session, I add an activity and resource here. My options come up here. I choose Collaborate and then click Add. It will now ask me for a name. I'm going to call this Live Session 1. Save and return. And here we see it's now available within section 1. The next thing I need to do is create a schedule. I need to set a time for this. So let's open, and it will now ask me to create a session. To create a session, all I need to do really is give it a name, which is demo, and then get rid of that. Set a time. So I'll leave it as it is. It's given me the default option of 1 hour. An important thing here is this early entry option. I say this is important because it gives people the chance to join the session before the scheduled start time. That's important because there are times it gives for people to set up and be ready. So you can go at the start time. People are not setting up and dealing with technical problems, including yourself. So the options are 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45, 60. Usually 15 to 30 should be enough. It's a good idea for yourself to be in there early so students know you're there. And also you can put a little message in telling them you're ready to go, for example, in 5 minutes, or give them some warning of when you're going to start. So let's join the session and see what happens. Join session. And it will probably ask me for permission to use my microphone and camera, etc. So I'm joining. Yes, it's asked me for permission. I'm going to allow. And this next bit probably takes a little bit of time. So while it's joining, I'm going to explain what I'll do next. I'm going to look at 3 real parts here to the Collaborate interface. First is top left, then the center bottom, and then bottom right. The top left, the only really thing you're interested in here is this recording option. This allows you to record your session and make it available for later use. This is particularly helpful if there are people who cannot attend for whatever reason. At the bottom, the key, let's look, we have an audio option. This is a video, so it gives us the chance to speak face to face to our students if we like. So you'll probably ask me for permission, yes. And then you will get a preview. That's what students would see. To be honest, I don't want to share this at the moment, so I'll just delete, cancel. But you have that option. And the other important thing is this raise hands option here. This allows students to raise their hand to attract your attention, which can be very useful in an online learning environment. when you see this number here, this means somebody has raised their hand, and when you look at that, it gives you the chance to address any concerns that students may be having while you're talking. And I think if you're not used to teaching online, this is a really useful option, because you do need some sense of feedback from students. The bottom right is where it's really happening. So let's click on here and see what happens. I have here this chat option. Then I have a list of attendees. For various reasons, I'm not allowed to show real students' names here. So at the moment it only shows myself, but it would show everybody in my class here. And the same with the chat. And I would be able to say things to students. Hi everyone. And they would be able to communicate with me and each other. This is quite useful for having some sense of interaction going as you're speaking. And it's kind of nice to sort of ask questions. You may want to set a protocol whereby people simply answer Y or N for yes and no. Especially at the beginning of a class, you might just simply want to check everybody can hear you. You'd ask, can you hear me? And people answer simply Y or N. But this chat function, it does maintain some sense of interaction between you and the class. The really important one is this share content option. As you can see, there are 3 levels of content: primary, secondary, and interact. Let's look at primary first. The first option is to share the Blackboard. This is a conventional Blackboard that you'd have in any class. You can see it gives you the chance to write on the Blackboard. So this is a pen. You can do stuff like, I don't know, underline, highlight. Probably better to change the color. So here we are. And then we can erase how can you have a pointer? And we can erase. So this is, it's a whiteboard. You're probably going to use this share files more. And there are various files available, particularly if you're going to use a PowerPoint or a PDF for your lecture or class. I'm going to give an example here of something I used a long time ago. I'm uploading now, as you can see, and the options available to you are, I think, they're PowerPoint, PDF, and JPEG files. So I'm looking for one of the few PowerPoint files I have on my computer. If I click share now, we see a lot of my slides come up on the right hand side. The students wouldn't see that. The students see this. And if I go to number 5. So this is just something I've had from way back. Then from here I can go to the next slide, and as you can see on the right, I can see what's coming up. And then if I go here, I jumped. Excuse me. Here, I've got a question for my class. What adjectives come to mind when you think of this animal? And then I can put that to the class, and using the chat function, they're able to answer and respond to me. This gives you as a teacher a chance to sort of just sit back for a few moments and allow the students to interact. And this gives you a much nicer feeling of a class happening. And then you'd continue the class as a normal class. This button here gives you you stop sharing. And really, that's all there is to it. You have this chat function here, the option of sharing files, and the option of using a PowerPoint. I actually did forget one important thing, didn't I? The breakout groups. Breakout groups allow us to arrange our students into groups where they can chat with each other. This is something similar on Zoom. And again, you may wish to do this. Unfortunately, I don't have any members here, but what would happen is that I can assign individual students to individual groups and they communicate with each other. So this is another feature of the polling. Is quite nice for just giving this so your lectures are not so one way. You'd ask a question, you'd create some options here, and students, you quickly put up a poll. And this keeps just some kind of feeling of interaction going. I'm not going to make an example here, but it would take too long. So, as you can see, you have the primary content, which is in terms of your planned lesson. Secondary, which gives you the chance for more controlled interaction with your students, and interact where students are interacting with each other rather than you. Other than that, it's really conducting a class in your own way. So, good luck.